Welcome to Topic 1 of Understanding Mental Health. My name is Melissa and I will be your trainer for the Mental Health First Aid course. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you to this course and wish you all the best with your learning. In our first session, we're going to provide an overview of mental health while providing a more in-depth look at the impacts of mental illnesses before moving on in the course to have a look at some specific mental health concerns. Within this presentation, we're going to explore the difference between mental health and mental illness. We're going to examine how having a mental illness can impact a person's engagement within the community. We're going to look at economical impacts of mental health concerns before outlining some common misconceptions and how these beliefs can impact a person living with a mental illness. The term mental health and mental illness can often be overused and sometimes reduce an understanding of its parameters. So it is essential to explore these terms to ensure a clear definition is developed. First, we're going to explore mental health. Mental health is a state of well-being. It is when a person is able to see their own potential and are able to deal with the day-to-day stresses of life and can engage in social settings relatively well. We've all had times where we've struggled with some social settings and can get nervous about being around new people. However, overall, a person with good mental health can engage within these settings without too much concern. On the other hand is mental illness, which is the opposite. This is where a person experiences a health problem, and it is crucial to identify that this is a health problem. Some people see mental illness as a mental health concern, but it also has a significant impact on a person's physiological and biological health functions. Mental illnesses impact significantly on a person's day-to-day life and can create issues within the person's engagement within society. It impacts on how the person feels, thinks, behaves, and interacts with others. Having good mental health is vital to a person's overall well-being, and prevention is better than cure. So ensuring that we are engaging in activities to support our mental health is essential. By participating in these activities, it doesn't mean that we will never experience mental illness, but it can reduce our likelihood. Some activities to consider include ensuring adequate sleep. Current research suggests an average person needs 8 hours of night. Choosing a healthy diet, this means including fruits and vegetables within your daily diet and ensuring ample water intake. Engaging in physical exercise, current research suggests 30 minutes a day. Limiting the intake of alcohol, so reducing the amount of alcohol we intake on a day-to-day basis. Remembering that alcohol is a depressant, so it is vital to limit your intake. Eliminate or reduce the intake of illegal substances. Illegal substances can be a stimuli or a depressant, which impacts on our brain and neurological function. It's also important to have a healthy support system. So this means having connections with others and having people to turn to is so important for our overall mental health. Another aspect is engaging in relaxation strategies. When we engage in relaxation strategies such as meditation, we can improve our brain function and support a calming balance. Reducing stress levels are vital. Stress has a significant impact on our physical and mental health. The importance of reducing stress is fundamental, and we will explore the reason for this in much more depth within the next few slides. Reducing stress is vital for our overall mental and physical health. To understand this, we need to look at what happens within our body when we experience stress. Once stress is recognized, stress hormones are released from the adrenal glands, such as cortisol, which triggers changes in our physiological functions, including suppressing our immune system, as well as increasing our heart rate, blood pressure, blood sugar, breathing rate. It increases muscle tension and increases feelings of fatigue. So we've just had a look at the physiological changes that occur when we have identified that we are experiencing stress. But what are the impacts of prolonged periods of stress? This impacts our mental health and can create mental illnesses such as depression and anxiety. It can impact our concentration. We may have an inability to focus, or we may have problems with short-term concentration. It can also impact our behaviours where we feel more irritable and angry. So now we're going to have a look at some statistics of mental illness within Australia. What has been identified is that 45.5% of people experience a mental illness within their lifetime. 20% of Australian adults had experienced a mental illness within the past 12 months, and of that 20%, 6.2% had been affected by a mood disorder, such as depression or bipolar. 14.4% experienced anxiety, and 5.1% had substance use disorder. Women were identified as having an increased chance of experiencing a mental illness, with 22.3% of women experiencing mental illness compared to 17.6% of men. However, men had twice the chance of experiencing a substance use disorder than women. People who are living with a mental illness can experience a multitude of impacts, such as impacts on their social skills. It may reduce their ability to engage in social settings, and in some situations, they may avoid social environments altogether. It can impact on their general health. Mental illness can impact on our physiological functions and can increase the chance of diseases such as diabetes, cardiovascular disorders, and muscular concerns, just to name a few. It can impact on the person's ability to engage in the workforce or education settings and ultimately impact their ability to financially support themselves. It can reduce their self-esteem and decrease their motivation. People living with a mental illness do have an increased chance of unemployment, homelessness, substance use, experiencing diseases. Sometimes they can have a reduced life expectancy. They can experience other mental illnesses, and they can have an increased chance of having suicidal ideations. Mental illness can have a huge impact on a family's income, community resources, and federal expenditure. Currently, 7.3% of the federal health budget is spent on mental health, totaling $4.7 billion each year. However, for every $1 spent on mental illness prevention and early intervention, there is believed to save a roughly double this amount in long-term expenditure. A stigma is when a person develops a negative view, opinion, or stereotype about someone with a mental illness. These judgments impact and discriminate against the person experiencing the mental illness, and they set barriers to engagement and impact on the person's view of self. Stigmas are based on generalization, such as they are always dangerous, because these generalizations are not based on fact, but are rather based on fear and overgeneralization of what a person has seen or what they have experienced in the past. Stigmas create a multitude of impacts, including unfair treatment. They can reduce a person's self-esteem. They can reduce the person's social engagement, creating social isolation. They can increase the risk of suicide, increase the risk of engaging in substance use, and reduce the likelihood of the person seeking support. Before we finish up this section and move on to the next section, I wanted to have a look at some common terms to help further learning. The first one is suicidal ideations. This is a term that refers to a person having suicidal thoughts or thoughts of ending their life. These thoughts can range in intensity from fleeting thoughts all the way up to more well-formulated thoughts, and some people can even experience thoughts that preoccupy their life. The next one is risk factors. These are factors that are present within a person's life that may increase their chance of having suicidal thoughts or acting on those thoughts. Some examples might include being unemployed, not having a support network, a recent loss, experiencing a mental illness, previous suicide attempts, a family history of suicide. The next one is protective factors. So this is the opposite of risk factors. These are factors that are present in a person's life that may decrease the chance of them having suicidal thoughts or acting on these thoughts. So some examples include a strong social connection, stable employment, and strong ties to the community.
Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it useful, and we welcome your feedback as we believe in the importance of continuous improvement. If you need additional support, please don't hesitate to contact us via email, Facebook, or by giving us a call. Thank you.